To Introduction to Java for Beginners, lesson number 9, static methods. Okay, so if you're coming from another programming language, a static method is what you would probably call a function or just a method in another language. For now, we're not looking at object-oriented programming. We're just looking at kind of functional programming. So a static method is a function or a method that does not operate on an object. So it just kind of exists by itself, which is probably not the best explanation, but for now that'll have to do. So let's say, for example, I wanted to print the value of pi. Okay, so I would do 3.14159, and I would print that out. I would run this, and there, hopefully, we should see that. So what I can do is I can actually make a method, a static method to do that instead. Okay, so, excuse me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here. Note I'm after the class in this case, and I'm going to make a new function. I'm going to call it public static void, which I'll explain in a bit, pi. And I'm going to put 3.14159. I don't know why I keep doing that. So let me delete that. And now let's run this and see what happens. And we should see, hopefully, nothing. Okay, error class static void print pi. That should have been, I'm sorry, that went down too far. So this should be still inside the class. That was my bad. Oops. Okay, so let's run that again and see what happens. And basically nothing's happening, which is good. This is what we expected. Okay, so we have created our new method, but we have not called it. So this is the process of actually using the method or making sure the method runs is called calling. So I'm going to type print pi. Okay. Notice there's nothing in here because there's nothing in here. I'll get to that in a minute. Again, don't really worry too much about public, static, and void for now. Void we'll get to in a bit. But static is basically sets it apart from the class, and it doesn't get attached to objects, which again is a bit complex. So let's just ignore that for now. I'm going to run it and show you how the actual code executes. So very good. So we run it, it's compiled, and then we start with the main, and we say print pi. It jumps down to here, because here's print pi, and it prints that, then it jumps back to where it was and runs the next line. So if I put here done, and then up here I'll put start, so you can see how the code executes. Okay, so we did start, print pi is called, it jumps down to here, finishes, comes back, and goes to the end of the main method. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of those. We don't need those anymore. I'll leave start there, why not? Now, here's something interesting. So this print pi is always going to just print pi. It's never going to change because it only does one thing. So what I want to do is I want to make a new static method. I'm going to call it public static void, and I call it print double. And I'm going to put in here int x, then my braces, and I'm going to do system.out.println x times 2. Okay, and then I'm going to say print double, and let's say I want to print double 4. Let's run that and see what happens, and then I'll explain it. Okay, so we had our start line, then we printed pi, jump down here, jump back, print double. Now notice I put a 4 here, and then down here I put int x. Okay, so 4 is an integer, x represents an integer. So when I did that, the value 4 is sent here. So that's the same as typing x equals 4. So system out print line 4 times 2, which is 8. So that lets us use our methods for any value. So we'll do 4 init, we do 8. And it'll print 8 and 16. Okay, and so on and so forth. Okay. Well, it's just pretty cool, but again, why wouldn't you just print this? I get that question a lot. So what I want to do next is show you that not only can we send a value to a method, we can return a value from the method. So I'm going to make a new one called public static, and this one's going to be double. I'll explain why in a second. Get pi. Okay. So pi is 3.14159, etc., etc., etc. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going to be getting a value back from this method. So I'm going to say return 3.14159. So then I can say up here double pi equals get pi parentheses. And then I can do system. Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'm going to do copy this so it makes it a little bit more clear. And bell's going to ring soon, so I'm trying to kind of hurry a little bit. Get pi, so we know where we're at in the program. And I'm going to say pi. All right, so I'm going to run that, and then I'll explain it real quick. Okay, so we got to get pi. So we're saying pi, this variable, equals get pi. So what happens is get pi jumps down to here, and then this method returns 3.14159. So essentially, this value gets replaced into here. So that's what return does. So pi equals 3.14159, and then we printed it out. Okay, and I think my bell's about to ring, so I'm going to pause this for a second. Actually, I'm just going to keep going, and then I'll edit this out, hopefully. Okay, now, the last thing I want to do is something like this, is public static double, actually int, sorry, int get double, int x. Okay, so I'm going to return x times 2. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing. Get double. And let's say d equals get, there's the bell, 4, well, let's do 16 this time. Okay, so let me run that, and then I will explain it. Let's make sure it works first. Okay, so get double. So very similar to what we did before. You can probably hear some voices, but it's the end of the day. So basically, I'm saying d equals get double 16. Okay, so 16 is sent down to get double, and it's returning 16 times 2, which is 32. So essentially, this gets changed to 32, and then we print it out. Now, it's x times 2. Oh, I put double d, so this should be int d, because I'm returning an int. I'm surprised we didn't get an error, but that was kind of nice. So this return type is an int. This is an int. So I'm sending an int, and there we go. So it's kind of nice that we didn't get an error, but we should, be consistent with our data types. Okay. So this is pretty much what we can do. We can write all types of methods. I'm going to do one last quick one here. Just to show you something that we could do, because so far what we've done, there isn't really much point of making a method for it. And say, call this greatest. Okay, so we'll say here int z equals get. Actually, why don't we call it greatest? That makes a little more sense. Get greatest. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send two values in this case, so 42 and 10, and then print greatest. So I'm going to make a method down here. So public static. Now I'm sending an int and I'm returning an int. And I'm going to call it get greatest. Now here's where it gets interesting. I've got two values, int x and int y. And then I'm going to use my if statements, which we did a few lessons back. So I'm going to try if x is greater than y, return x, because we want the greatest. Okay. Else, otherwise, return y. Does that make sense? So in this case, 42 is x, 10 is y. So is 42 greater than y? Yes. Return x. So that means this changes into 42, and we'll print out 42. So let's test that. Okay, get greatest. Now we should test this and make sure it still works if we switch the numbers around. It's good practice. And hopefully it should still be 42 because the order shouldn't matter. Okay, we still have 42. Okay, so there you go. So that is the power of methods and or functions, whatever you want to call that. Okay, stay tuned for more.